Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video, I'm using a terrible Master League Pokemon, Regigigas, to defeat a terrific new meta threat, DUSK main Necrozma. Regigigas has amazing stats, but horrific fast moves. It's stuck with hidden power. My Regigigas happens to have hidden power ground, which will hit Duskmane for super effective damage. Add on to that the normal typing, double resisting the Shadow Claws from Duskmane, and this Pokemon may not beat much, but it does beat Duskmane. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches, and let's go hunting for Duskmane with hidden power ground Regigigas. Hopping into the first match, we get the Dream Lead Palkia versus Kyogre. They save switch into Duskmane, and in comes Regigigas. Regigigas, these hidden powers are shredding through the Duskmane. I can survive a Sunsteel Strike here. However, I do decide that I want to preserve health, so I will commit the shield. I'm looking to farm up. The hidden power ground energy generation is horrible, so it takes me forever to get to the Thunder. Opponent is going to commit the shield. I can survive this and farm down, but at this point, I'm still so healthy that I feel like I may as well just keep health on the Regigigas. So I am going to get the full farm down, having taken basically no damage. In comes Kyogre, I'm farming up, and I'm going for Giga Impact. This move has a monster base damage, opponent does not respect it, Kyogre gets one shot, in the back is Dialga. I'm going to bank up a little bit of energy on Regigigas and send out Palkia Origin. I'm just going straight Aqua Tail because I want them to no shield. At this point, all I need to do is just get them low enough to the point where I can farm down with hidden power ground. So I can send in Regigigas. Regigigas fully farms down. We don't even need our Zacian, and we're able to take the win. Great lead in the next match, Palkia versus Landorus. Opponent save switches to Zygarde, and we have an amazing response available with Zacian. Regigigas, an extremely limited Pokemon in what it can do, so to use it, we're going to need some very strong teammates, and that's why we do have Palkia on the lead and Zacian as the save switch. I ran this team for 3 sets in the 2800s Master League meta, and against all odds, I was actually able to go right about even. I won 7 games and lost 8. So overall, considering I had Regigigas on the team, I'm incredibly thrilled with the results. Opponent is going to send out the Landorus. Landorus will be hit with the Play Rough. That does significant damage. They're going to farm up until just shy of the back-to-back moves. Sandsear Storm of course will easily pick up the knockout, and I can send in Palkia. They're going for the Sandsear. Number 2, I'm always just going to be letting this go, and we'll have to see what that final Pokemon is, and it's DUSK main Necrozma. Oh no, Trader, I am so sorry. In comes Regigigas. Again, I can survive this, so I decide to no shield for Science. That still does massive damage, but if you look at this, they can never farm me down. That's the beauty of it. Sunsteel does insane damage, but they can just never farm me down. I get a shield with a Thunder, and now, if I want to, I could shield and farm down, but I'm seeing a pretty clear win con by just saving shields for Palkia. So in comes Palkia. Palkia is going to have to shield once, as a Dark Pulse would come pretty close to knocking out here, but I'm going to get a full farm down, and there's just too much energy available on the Palkia. Palkia gets the full Dragon Breath down, and we're able to take the win. Our target is on the lead in the next game, leading Palkia Origin versus Necrozma. Necrozma farming up quite a bit of energy, opponent over-farming substantially, so since they did farm up to it, this could potentially be an outrage. I actually get a shield with the first move. Honestly, getting shield advantage, that works for me. I'm just going to let this go. Even if it's an outrage, I'm just going to farm down with the Regigigas. It's the Dark Pulse. I throw 2 Dragon Breaths and actually CMP tie the Duskmane. Now, Duskmane is able to win CMP over Dialga Origin, but Palkia Origin actually does win the CMP in this matchup. And now I can send out Regigigas. Regigigas gets a beautiful 4 hidden power head start. And that's important, because Regigigas takes forever to get to moves. It's Landorus in the back, and I have no fast move pressure available in this matchup. They're going to fire off energy here. This will be the Sandsear Storm, lowering my attack. Here's the thing about Regigigas though, it has a monster attack stat, and Giga Impact hits insanely hard, even at -1, that's almost a 1-hit KO. I decide, you know what, I'm going to protect the Regigigas because I don't know what's in the back. It's Palkia in the back, and I can just send out Zacian. Zacian, I am running Snarl specifically to do better against the Necrozma forms. They're going to be firing off the Aqua Tail. Aqua Tail not going to be a problem for Zacian. My only lose con in this matchup is going for a Wild Charge. Wild Charge close combat, Zacian can actually lose to Palkia. That's why I think running Play Rough is a must. Opponent waits to see that I do have Play Rough, and they will resign the match. We've got a Palkia Mirror in the next match. I'm actually not running Best Buddy boost on my Palkia, which means that I will lose the mirror here because I will lose charge attack priority. I try for the catch, and it's actually a simultaneous switch, and that's really unfortunate for me. It's Zacian into the Dusk main. Ideally, of course, had I seen the switch, I would have brought in Regigigas, but now I'm stuck in a negative matchup. And unfortunately, I end up shielding a bait as well. I'll fire off the Wild Charge. Wild Charge is going to do some very nice damage, and the Snarls definitely do add up in this matchup. I'm going for another Wild Charge. Opponent is going to match shields. I'm now at a range and at -4 defense, where they can just knock out with a Dark Pulse. I decide to commit the shield, and I'm going for the Wild Charge. I'm hoping they shield. If they shield, then all shields down, hopefully Regigigas can do well. They bring in Palkia, and I'm not able to switch out and get a snipe. I thought they would overfarm more, and then I could snipe with the Spatial Rend, but unfortunately, not able to do so. This is a very awkward health range. I don't really want to waste my energy on Palkia, so instead I send in Regigigas, but Hidden Power is absolutely terrible if you're not hitting something for super effective. I can't get the farm down. They make the Spatial Rend. They fully farm down by Regigigas. Regigigas, no! Oh, I have misplayed this game so terribly. When they brought in Palkia, if I just sniped with the Spatial Rend on my Palkia, I would have been fine. But instead, I'm not even going to get to see the third Pokemon. And that's the thing about Regigigas. There's some games where it'll pop off, and other games where it lives up to its name as a truly terrible Master League Pokemon. Speaking of terrible, that's a terrible lead as I lead Palkia into Togekiss. I'm going to send out Zacian. Zacian, I wait to make sure the Charm registers, but it looks like I ended up waiting a bit too long as it actually ends up being a CMP tie. That was not the goal to CMP tie there. I do want to commit the shield, even though I am going to be debuffed here, because I need to get some damage off. Opponent is going to send out Dawn Wings. Dawn Wings going to have the Dark Pulse here, because if they don't, I'm going to get back-to-back Wild Charges. And the opponent, they don't throw. This means that I force a shield. They just want energy on Dawn Wings. They're thinking that they can Moongeist Beam whatever I send in, but here's the thing, you can't Moongeist Beam Regigigas. Hidden Power Ground is not going to do a lot here, because it is of course going to be hitting for neutral, and Hidden Power is atrocious when you're hitting for neutral damage. I tank a Dark Pulse, I'm going to shield the Dark Pulse, and I'm going to try and farm all the way down. Let's go Regigigas. Regigigas gets the full farm down. What do they have in the back? It's the Dialga. Here's where having Focus Blast would be nice, but I don't have Focus Blast. I'm going for the Giga Impact. Giga Impact, still insane resisted damage, getting them incredibly low. I switch into the Palkia, and I get the snipe, denying their energy. In comes Togekiss, and this is all going to come down to, have I done enough damage to where 2 Aqua Tails can KO? I'm at the back-to-back Aqua Tails here. There was a little bit of stutter as I clicked on the move. I get Aqua Tail number 1, and I do get Aqua Tail number 2. I just throw it instantly. I think it's enough, and it is. So we're able to fight back from an atrocious lead and take the win. Tough lead in the next match, Palkia versus Zygarde. Palkia can do okay here, but obviously I would much prefer to have this on the Zacian. So I'm going to farm up energy with the Palkia, and I decided to go for the bait. Zygardes were shielding, so I'm going to go for the bait, and then they call it. I was like, you got to be kidding me, man. That's so unfortunate. They have to Earthquake here, though. If they don't Earthquake, I can make a Spatial Rend, so they will go for the Earthquake. I'm going to send out Zacian. They're going to pivot. Oh, hello, Duskmane. And now I can send out Regigigas. Regigigas, these hidden powers are shredding through the Duskmane. I decide to shield, and it's the Sunsteel Strike, so that proves to be an incredibly important shield. I'm going for the Thunder. This will knock out unless the opponent is willing to shield back, and they are, but that works great for me, because, again, my Regigigas isn't taking basically any damage as long as my opponent can't land a charge move. So I'm going to be able to get a full farm down here, and I still have a full health Regigigas, which is quite nice. And I was able to completely neutralize Duskmane. In comes Zygarde. Zygarde, I'm going to bank energy, send out Zacian. In comes Ho-Oh, and I have a ton of energy on the Zacian. I'm expecting that the Ho-Oh is not going to be going for the Brave Bird because they don't want to debuff themselves, so I actually leave myself vulnerable to a Brave Bird to make it very close to back-to-back Wild Charges. They have to Sacred Fire here instantly, but they lose track of energy. Zacian with too much residual energy stored. Wild Charge picks up the knockout. In comes Zygarde, and we're going to have an incredibly fun end to this game. We get to Giga Impact. The Crunch does not KO. I'm actually not going to throw the Play Rough because Regigigas has earned this moment. One of the most toxic Master League Pokemon possible, Zygarde, getting KO'd with a Giga Impact from Regigigas, and that is a good game. We've got mirror leads in the next match, Palkia versus Palkia. Last time we had the mirror, I tried to catch on a Zacian. They simul-switched into a Dusk main, and the alignment just wasn't great. So this time, I predict the catch, and I don't throw, and they end up not going for the catch. I get the farm down, I leave with very low HP, but a ton of energy stored. Oh, and it's Landorus in the back. This is amazing. As Aqua Tail is going to do a ton of damage here. I land the Aqua Tail. The second one, they have to shield, or they're just getting knocked out. And I don't think they want to just throw away this Landorus. But I got some very important damage on this Pokemon, and I got the shield back. Opponent farms up. They fire when they make it to the Stone Edge. Stone Edge, they actually end up going for the Sandsear Storm, and I'm going to go for the Wild Charge bait. I'm expecting them to shield because a Play Rough would knock out. The Wild Charge bait gets no shielded. They switch. In the back is Ho-Oh, and this is really not good. I send out Regigigas, but Regigigas is not going to do well here. I'm Hidden Power Ground. I have no fast move pressure. They go for the Sacred Fire. They do not get the debuff. It all comes down to Regigigas making it to the Thunder, and we just get there before the Incinerate damage registers. Thunder forces the shield from the Ho-Oh. Ho-Oh will fire off its energy. I didn't want to risk a CMP tie there, so I will commit the shield. They go for the Brave Bird. This means a Wild Charge will knock out. The Landorus is so close to the Sandsear, but they're one short. I have back-to-back moves, which means I'm going to be able to take this game. It got very scary towards the end. Regigigas didn't have a lot of play, but Zacian with energy management is able to secure the win. We got Palkia Origin versus Zygarde in the next match. Zygarde a very familiar lead. Last Zygarde lead ended up calling it, so this time I'm full set in the Spatial Rend. If Zygardes want to call it, fair play to me, but this one does shield. Man, that is some very unfortunate luck there. They're going to fire off energy. Again, I'm just going to let this through. I do survive a Crunch. The Crunch will connect. I try and get the Aqua Tail, but unfortunately the Dragon Tail damage will register. Opponent is going to pivot. They send out Dusk main, and in comes Regigigas. Regigigas farming up a ton of energy. Opponent is going to throw an alignment. A lot of people don't know how many turns Hidden Power is. Hidden Power is 3 turns, so they will accidentally end up giving free moves to Regigigas. They're firing off their energy. I decide to double shield. I'm just going to try and commit to a full farm down here. Regigigas just cannot get the farm down. They make a Dark Pulse. Granted, Dark Pulse isn't particularly threatening, but I would still rather have all of my HP available to me. So I'm going to fire off the Giga Impact at the Zygarde. It picks up the KO, but unfortunately, it's Ho-Oh in the back once again. I'm farming up a ton of energy and going for the Wild Charge. They do have enough for the Sacred Fire here. I could potentially try for the CMP tie, but I thought they were going to do one more. Regardless, a Wild Charge wouldn't KO. I need to try and make it to a Thunder. Come on, Regigigas, but the energy generation on Hidden Power is just too slow. Even if I landed that Wild Charge on the Zacian onto the Ho, I still needed to make it to a Thunder on Regigigas, so missing that move didn't end up costing me the game. We've got a great lead in the next match, Palkia versus Dragonite. Unfortunately, this matchup right here is why Dragonite is basically obsolete in the Master League as far as the regular goes. The Shadow can do a lot better, but the regular Dragonite takes more damage from Dragon Breath and does less damage to Palkia. So it's a really unfortunate matchup where I leave with a decent amount of HP and I leave with a massive amount of energy because I farmed all the way down. In comes our target, which is going to be the Dusk main Necrozma. I get the shield with the Aqua Tail, which is quite nice. Now I can connect with the Spatial Rend, and my opponent will exit with a little bit of energy, but I can send out Regigigas. This is definitely not what anyone was expecting to see. This is a tough call to make. I shield, I get it right, it's the Sunsteel Strike, and in the back is Excadrill, and look at the Hidden Power grounds. Oh my goodness, I'm just firing off the Giga Impact instantly here. Hidden Power Ground on an absolute rampage against the Excadrill. Excadrill firing off its energy, going to go for the Drill Run. Will Drill Run be enough to two-shot? It looks like the answer is yes. So I send out the Zacian. Zacian looking for the Snarl down. 2 Drill Runs will not be enough to KO the Zacian, however. Opponent is going to get snarled down, and they will concede the match as I do have energy loaded on Zacian. We move to the next match, Palkia versus Ho-Oh. Incredibly good lead. Okay, this is a great spot to be in. Ho-Oh leads will often Brave Bird and then almost always send in Dialga. Occasionally they'll send in Zygarde, but either way, I have Zacian for a Zygarde switch-in, and I have my Hidden Power Ground Regigigas available for Dialga. They go for the Brave Bird, there's Dialga, and in comes Hidden Power Ground Regigigas. Now you might say, your fast move's hitting for super effective. Surely this is a good matchup. Unfortunately, Regigigas only wins the 2s here. Unfortunately, the 1s and the 0s, its energy generation is just too slow. I'm going to farm up and fire off the Thunder. Thunder is going to do significant resisted damage, and it just KOs the Dialga straight up. The attack stat on this thing is just absolutely monstrous. It's Palkia, and this is actually quite bad. Palkia is up a tremendous amount of energy and a shield. And up this much energy and a shield, this is a very flippable matchup for the Palkia. The nice thing is I can tank 2 Aqua Tails, but not well. And if I ever Wild Charge, that means, it is cheaper, but it means that I'm going to be taking way more damage. So that's really not ideal. I'm going to fire off the Play Rough. Play Rough is, of course, going to be shielded. At this point, they know how valuable the Palkia is. I'm going to keep farming with the Zacian. Opponent sends in the Ho-Oh. I send in my Palkia, looking for the farm down, but the Ho-Oh survives on 1 HP. That's so unfortunate. I will get a free Snarl without taking any damage, so I'm going to go for the free Snarl, and now it becomes a 50-50. I'm worried if I Wild Charge, I can't make the Play Rough, so I'm going to go for the Play Rough, hoping they call the bait, but they commit the shield. Wild Charge would not KO, so I try and commit to the Play Rough, and unfortunately, we do lose the match. All in all, I had way too much fun getting to run Regigigas, and going 7 and 8, not far off of leaderboard elo in the Master League, in and around 2800 elo, I am absolutely thrilled with. This team had no business getting anywhere close to a 50% win rate. When it comes to Regigigas in the Master League, it's always going to be a meme until it gets a viable fast move and a bait move at that. Its stats are amazing, but hidden power is just absolutely awful. But that's almost why I thought it was a little bit poetic, that a Pokemon that is so terrible in the Master League, if you have hidden power ground, ends up being a pretty decent counter to DUSK main Necrozma, which is now like top Master League meta. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you as always to our members here on YouTube. The support guys provide is sincerely appreciated. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.